Hello friends, Namaskar and a very big welcome to today's episode. Today I shall be talking to you about my journey into the wonderful world of photography. Nowadays taking photographs are very easy because we all have cameras in our mobile phones and we can very easily take videography and color photographs at any point of time, whenever and wherever we want to take them. But when I took my first baby steps into the world of photography, it was a completely different time. At that point of time, video was actually not even considered by anybody other than the major professionals. In fact, at that point of time, color photography was not popular in India, and only the professionals used to take photos with flash bulbs at night because the flash bulbs used to get fused with each single shot. You see, at that point of time, photography was considered to be a reasonably expensive hobby, and lesser number of people used to indulge in that hobby. I was very lucky because my father was a keen amateur photographer and encouraged me to start into the wonderful world of photography at a relatively early age. I remember that I was in class 7, and during that time we were going on a holiday to Puri, and that point of time my father had given his old box camera to me for taking photographs. The box camera, let me describe it a bit. The box camera was actually in the shape of a box. It was a German made camera and its name was Zeiss Icon, and it used to take 8 photographs. And I remember that the first film which my father bought for me was called Fomapan. This camera was my prized possession for a very long time, and I started taking photographs with this very basic camera. Before I proceed further, let me tell you that at that time most of the people were using the TLR camera. The TLR camera's full form is twin lens reflex, and the other type of camera that used to be used is the SLR camera or the single lens reflex. There were quite a few differences between the TLR camera and the SLR camera, but for the sake of simplicity, let me just tell you that the TLR cameras used to be with fixed lenses and lesser adjustments, while the SLR cameras was having the facility of interchanging the lenses and more adjustments as and when the situation demanded. Naturally, the cameras used to be much more expensive and very rare, and even many of the professionals used to take the photographs with the TLR cameras. At that point of time, I had no dreams even of owning a SLR camera. My only thought was how soon I will graduate from the box camera to my father's TLR camera. This also happened, and here is the TLR camera for you all to see. This camera is known as a TLR camera because it has got two lenses. The top lens is for viewing and the down lens is for taking the photograph. And many of the people who have used the TLR camera will have a nostalgic feeling seeing this camera. This is a Japanese made camera and the company's name is Beautyflex, and right now I don't think this company is making any more cameras. This is a fully operational camera because I had it serviced and I have taken a lot of photos with this camera. But unfortunately now film photography is extinct. I would not be able to procure a film. Even if I want to take a photograph with this camera, I will not be able to. In the late 80s and early 90s, photography, particularly color photography, started becoming a bit more popular with the introduction of various point and shoot cameras by Kodak. At that time, a lot of color labs also used to start coming up in many cities in India where you could develop the colored film, and Kodak and Konica also brought in a lot of color films. These color films, along with the color labs and the introduction of Kodak cameras like Kodak KB10, Kodak KB20, etc., popularized color photography in that particular time. The Kodak cameras were simple cameras with inbuilt flash operating on battery, and with those you could take a good daylight photograph if you follow the basic rule of photography, which is you allow the sunlight to come on the subject with the sun behind your camera, and also with the flash reasonably good nighttime photos could be taken. So in a very quick period, many of us became keen amateur color photographers, and the color films used to be having 36 exposures. Here I would like to give a special mention to the best camera from the house of Kodak, and that is Kodak Chroma. Here is my Kodak Chroma. This is again a point and shoot camera, and with this you could take good instant photos because it was a lightweight camera with a flash and it was easy to operate. This camera is also right now operational, but again no films. What to do? For a long time, Europe and USA used to be the main market for SLR cameras. Though the major camera manufacturers, SLR camera manufacturers like Nikon, Canon, Pentax, etc. were Japanese, their main market used to be Europe and US, and they were making costly cameras for these two markets. But sometime in the late 80s and very early 90s, there was a feeling amongst these manufacturers that many of the developing Asian countries, there is a demand for SLRs because of the development of the economy. So what did these companies do? They started manufacturing full manual low-end SLR cameras for these countries, and some of these cameras started getting available in India also. Of course, there were a minuscule number of amateurs who were always in favor of using the SLR cameras, but these people were mainly using the Russian Zenit or the East German Praktica or Exacta cameras. But now you will find many amateurs with Nikon or Canon SLR cameras with them. The cameras which came to India were all of them not very cheap, but there were a few of the cameras which were reasonably priced. So if one wanted, one could go for a Nikon FM10, a fully manual SLR camera, or a Vivitar. The Nikon FM10 used to come with a standard zoom lens, and it was at this time that I switched over to this Nikon FM10. I had always kept my hobby of photography alive, and because of the supply of SLR cameras in the market, I thought let me upgrade into this particular camera. Here is my Nikon FM10. This is a good camera, fully manual, and let me say that the manual SLR photography is the best that can happen for any film photographer, because the photographer has full control of the photographs that he or she takes. Having said so many things on the bygone era of film photography and film cameras, let me now go to the digital photographies. With the introduction of digital photography, photography went into another level altogether. Very good and beautiful photographs could be taken by photographers, and the, the cameras used to work out the adjustments for them, and the photographers could concentrate on the photos, surroundings, etc. etc. Without going too much into details, for obvious reasons of the time, I would like to say that you have a great choice in digital photography. You want to go for a point and shoot digital camera, you have it. You want to invest heavily and go for a digital SLR which has interchangeable lens, which takes in the latest telephoto lens, you can go for it. You do not want to carry a chunky, bulky SLR and still take wonderful photos, go for a mirrorless camera. Or else, if you are a travel photographer, you could always choose to have a super zoom fixed lens camera, which is nearly as good as a DSLR. And nowadays you have very beautiful cameras inbuilt within your mobile. So you have your pick and it becomes very easy to take photographs. There is no problem of storage because everything is stored digitally. I would like to say here that in case any of you viewers would like to go for a new camera, you may like to consider the super zoom fixed lens cameras. I am saying this out of my experience of using the super zoom camera and having taken great many wonderful photos with that camera. Though nowadays I am using a digital SLR, which I am currently using to take this video, my vote always would go for the super zoom cameras because of its versatility as well as the price factor. Now let me just say some things about the differences between film photography and digital photography. While digital photographs allow you to take as many number of photographs and delete the ones which you don't like and keep the ones which you really like, and there is no problem of storage which the film camera has, because how many albums would you keep? And what about the negatives? How do you store the negatives? Film photography has one suspense and thrill. That is, when you have finished a particular camera roll and have given it for developing, you do not know how your photographs have finally come until and unless you go to the developing color lab and take your photographs. The suspense and the thrill that goes with it, I am sure that any film photographer enjoys that best. Having said so many things on about the photography and my journey into photography, I would like to say that film photography is now nostalgia, while digital photography is now the reality. And I would suggest that you all enjoy photography in its current digital form. With that, let me close. A big thank you to all. Namaste and see you all in the next episode.